there is one piece of advice that I could give the majority of entrepreneurs that I've spent time with, it's that they need to get better at asking questions. Now, I'm not referring to just when we talk to sellers. You guys know in the closers formula, it's all about open-ended questions, actively listening, deciphering what's important to the seller to talk about, and then asking even more questions as we go down the path of deciding if they're motivated, why they need to sell, and how we can be a solution for them. Okay, you guys have seen all of those videos. That's not what I'm referring to here. However, it is applicable to that as well. What I'm referring to is just in general, like inside of Facebook groups is a great place. And I manage the Vault, our free Facebook group. Right? I think we're approaching 16,000 members at this point. I also get to do daily implementation calls inside of Titanium University. I get the DMs. I see the YouTube comments. I'm sure there's going to be some on this video as well. So I get to see a lot of questions get asked. I'm going to give some examples of why I feel like the majority of entrepreneurs need to get better at asking questions. The other day, it was probably, I don't know, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday after Thanksgiving. There was a post inside of the Vault that said, I bought RJ's Black Friday King Closers War Chest product, immediately dove in, watched all the videos, changed how I talked to sellers, implemented it, and I've already closed multiple deals. Got traction, likes, comments. So I go in after it had been posted for, say, a day, went and read the comments. There was a lot of congratulations. But then when people actually asked this person, almost all of the questions, I'm talking about like 99.9% of the questions were, where'd you get the leads? What was your lead source on this? However, when you go back and you read the gentleman's post, it was, hey, I was doing this business. I bought RJ's closers formula, implemented that, and it's led to results. And I started thinking about this is not like a promo for that product whatsoever. Lead generation is an extremely important part of our business. However, it's also the most simplest part of our business at this point, right? I mean, with speed to lead, Leadzola, property leads. Okay, swipe your card, you got leads. All right, you got a seller that raised their hand and said they want to sell. And you got this gentleman here who's talking about how implementing a new process, a new way to talk to sellers completely revolutionized his business and his life. And now he's able to get signed contracts and has something that he can truly monetize inside of his wholesaling business. The contract, that's what we sell, right? We flip paper. We literally sell contracts. So now he has those and he has something that he can monetize. No one asked the right question. They all wanted to know where the lead came from. They thought the solution was the lead. That wasn't the solution. No one asked them, what changed in your process? What were you doing prior to buying RJ's Closers formula? What do you think actually led to the different results? It clearly had to be wherever the lead came from, right? Not the Closers formula. I look at this, and this is just one specific example, but this is rampant throughout entrepreneurship, asking the wrong questions. When I look at what people need more than anything, specifically in the wholesaling industry, it's how to talk to sellers, how to comp and underwrite, and how to dispo. Those are the three main things that really people in the wholesaling industry need help with. It's the most common topics inside of Titanium University. It's the most common topics inside of the Vault. Yet, when there's posts and you have an opportunity where someone says, I succeeded, that's not the questions that we're asking. We're not asking about how do they acquire the deal, how did they comp and underwrite, or how did they dispo the deal. I see a lot of people that go inside of the group and they post checks and they say, hey, this deal's closed and funded, or a wire comes through. There'll be a lot of congratulations. Super inspiring. Thanks for sharing. That's great. Why don't you ask them a question? How did it happen? Don't get motivation from it. Don't be inspired from it. Take something from it. They're literally posting out there, hey, I succeeded. It's literally them raising their hand, just like a motivated seller raises their hand when they fill out a PPL form saying, I have a house I want to sell. Super easy. Now you got someone in a Facebook group raising their hand saying, I succeeded. I would love to help you. I'm here. What else would they be posting for? Is it to get the dopamine hit of the congrats? I don't think so. I think the majority of people are there to say, I was in your shoes. Hey, you want to ask me a question? You can ask me a question. Sometimes they do. Again, we go back to, what was the lead source? Most common question that I see, what was the lead source? I've never seen someone say, how'd you find your buyer? How'd you comp and underwrite that deal? What do you think was different this month to get this deal closed and funded than last month? I don't see those types of questions. You guys need to get better at asking questions. Use each other in your journey. If there's someone willing to go out there and share something, ask them the appropriate question. One of the things that I've noticed with being a part of masterminds for probably the last 8 or 9 years as an entrepreneur is that there's typically two types of people at events, at masterminds, whatever you want to call it, where there's the successful people, the speakers, right? The people that are there to share. And then there's the people that are just attending, walking around. There's normally the one type, that's not me, okay, just throwing that out there, that shows up with an agenda. The agenda being, I'm going to go around and I'm going to ask specific people specific questions, and I'm going to try to take that. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to implement that. That's just not my personality. Part of the reason why I think I'm not like that is because I love just observing, sitting back. It's partially why the closer's formula is the way that it is, because I want to learn through the process by listening. And so a lot of times what will happen is when I engage, say in a hallway or backstage or something like that with another entrepreneur, someone that I can learn from, I could siphon information from them, implement it in my business, and then in return be better for it. Just like I do in the closer's formula, I just like to ask super open-ended questions. One of my favorite things is, hey, maybe it's been a year, 2 years, 6 months since I've seen someone. How's business been? Just that open-ended of a question. What you'll learn is what's been great, what's been terrible, and you learn from it. This is where we have developed a lot of the things that we teach you guys right here on these videos, like focus your habits, stop searching for unicorns, the hedgehog concept, excuse plus a story. It's also not just from our own experiences, but listening to other entrepreneurs where it's like, hey, I've known that person for 4, 5, 6 years. I've seen their journey. I've seen them come and say, hey, I'm crushing it. Wholesaling's been great. We're doing awesome. See them a year later. And things were going great. And then we got into flips, and flips went bad. Contractors screwed me over. You know, hard money loans really started eating up all of our profits, and we had to offload these deals just to survive. So now we're going back to focus on what we were doing on wholesaling. Okay, put that down. Been there, done that. All right, hedgehog concept. That's what was lacking. That's what I learned right there. Now, if I gone to that person with an agenda and I said, hey, man, know you've been buying a lot of properties lately. What's your lead source? Oh, it's direct mail. Cool. What did I learn there? This person does direct mail. Well, where do you do direct mail? REI print mail. Oh, okay. Yellow letter HQ. I see these closed-ended questions, and it kills me just as much when I do a seller call review and I hear someone say, how old's your roof? 5 years old. Now what? What information did you gather? How do you make a decision based off of that question that you asked? It makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Roof is 5 years old. What if there's a hailstorm 2 months ago that completely tore it up? Are we counting for that in the rehab or are we not? We didn't ask the right question. When we see someone that said, hey, I got this new strategy for closing deals, and then we ask them, what was the lead source? And they simply just respond, Speed to Lead. Now what? You go to Speed to Lead's website, you're immediately overwhelmed. There's the marketplace, there's fixed price mode, there's coupon club. What are you going to do? On market, off market, motivation, condition, population size, buyer amount. You don't know. You don't know shit because you didn't ask the right question. We lack the ability to utilize the people around us appropriately. We look at it and we sit there and we think to ourselves, well, that person just made $15,000 on a wholesale deal, or that person just got 5, 6, 7, 8 contracts in the past week. Well, if I just ask him what his lead source is, then clearly I'm going to be able to duplicate those results. Wrong. You're not. Because you're not thinking deep enough. You're not thinking far enough into the future. Part of your responsibility as an entrepreneur is to always be the visionary for where your company is going and how to get there. So if you can't sit there and look at someone that's doing something that you want to do or you need to do, and you can't figure out how to ask the right questions, slow down. I mean, it's like, hey, there's not a time rush on this. This is not like being on the phone with a seller, right? It's a Facebook group. You can take the time to ask the appropriate question. How could this person who's openly sharing on a social forum help me move the needle? You watch these YouTube videos, some of them inside of the comments. There's people talking about the wins that they have. I'd love to see you guys share some of the wins that you've had recently. When you share that win, you're then raising your hand and saying, I'm here to show people what I'm doing. Why not? Otherwise, why would you share that win? I love helping people. Sometimes I get really frustrated when I try to help people because they ask me a question and then I have to ask a question in return. That to me always signifies that you are not thinking appropriately about how to grow your business. The other thing is I can sit there and I can go into the vault and I can see the posts that are made from people. So not just the comments, the posts. And I can see the questions that they're asking. And I've got a ridiculously good memory. I mean, it's almost, it's painful at times where I wish I could just forget some things. But I'll remember a name, a profile picture. I'll remember certain questions that they've asked over the course of time. And I can clearly see, as I kind of document the history of the questions that they're asking inside the group, I will be able to look at someone and say, that person right there is going to succeed. And I can clearly see it because I can see the thought process that they're going through as an entrepreneur, why they're asking this, where they are in their growth pattern, and why I believe they're going to be able to succeed moving forward. I can also see going in there the ones that are not going to succeed, the ones that are worried about tiny little details, about, hey, I know I've already been told to do this, but I'm still going to ask the question. What about this lead source? Should I do this specific thing? Hey, I know RJ has said this on 27 different videos. He also told me in some training, but I'm still going to ask the question, are other people seeing success with this? You're overthinking the process. You're overthinking all of it. And quite frankly, you're worried about the wrong things. Here's my ask of you guys moving forward into the new year. Let's start thinking before we start asking. Really think about, what answer do I need here to move the needle forward inside of my business? I would love to see the titanium community moving forward start asking more questions in regards to, how are we closing deals? How are we comping and underwriting deals? And how are we dispoing deals? These are the things that lead to wires going into your bank accounts and checks being cashed. Less about, how did you find a motivated seller? Guys, we're going into 2025. It's different now. We're not in 2020 and 2021 where we have to ask about, what list did we pull? What text program are we using? What cold call service? What VAs are we using? We don't have to do that. We need to be worried about building skills inside of our own businesses. And when people are willing to share that, ask the right questions. So moving forward, slow yourself down. Think about what you actually need inside of your business and ask the people that are willing to share. And for all of you, for future reference, I'm always willing to share. So if you have a question, always feel free to ask in the comments. Join the vault. It's free on Facebook group. There's a link in the video. Join the vault. Ask the right questions. You never know how that can make a big difference in your business.